8 mice were placed inside a perfect world. No predators, no disease, no hunger, unlimited food, unlimited water, perfect temperature, infinite comfort. If paradise exists, this was it. No war, no scarcity, no suffering. A world humanity has dreamed about for thousands of years, and yet, within a few generations, that perfect world became hell. Violence exploded. Birth rates collapsed. Mothers abandoned their young. Social behavior broke down. Entire groups stopped reproducing. And eventually, every single mouse died. Not from famine, not from disease, not from attack. They died inside paradise. Now here's the uncomfortable part. The scientist who ran this experiment believed it wasn't really about mice. He believed it was about us. And if he was right, modern society may already be following the same path. But to understand why this experiment became so disturbing, we need to go back to the beginning. His name was John B. Calhoun. In the 1960s and 70s, Calhoun became obsessed with one question: what happens when a species gets everything it wants? Most people assume the answer is obvious: happiness, peace, prosperity. But Calhoun wasn't convinced, because throughout history, civilizations rarely collapsed at their weakest. Many collapsed at their peak, when wealth was high, when comfort was abundant, when struggle disappeared. That bothered him. So he designed one of the most disturbing behavioral experiments ever conducted. He called it Universe 25. Imagine a massive enclosed habitat built specifically for mice. There were nesting boxes, tunnels, safe sleeping areas, unlimited food dispensers, unlimited water. The temperature stayed perfect. The environment remained clean. No predators could enter. No disease could spread. No external danger existed. This wasn't survival. This was utopia. Calhoun placed just 8 healthy mice inside, 4 males, 4 females. At first, everything went exactly as expected. They explored, they mated, they reproduced. Population doubled, then doubled again, then again. The colony exploded with life. By every traditional measure, the experiment was a success. The mice were thriving. But then something changed. And this is where the story gets strange. Even though space remained available, behavior started shifting. Subtle at first, then dramatically. The social structure began breaking. Dominant males became hyper-aggressive. They attacked weaker mice for no survival reason. Not over food, not over territory, just aggression, random violence. And it got worse. Some mice stopped defending themselves entirely. They became passive, emotionless, withdrawn. They stopped competing, stopped socializing, stopped mating. They simply existed. But that wasn't the most disturbing group. Calhoun noticed a new class emerging. He called them the beautiful ones. And what happened next terrified him. These mice were physically perfect. No scars, no bite marks, no damaged fur. Because they avoided all conflict. They withdrew completely from society. They spent their days doing only 3 things: eating, sleeping, grooming. That's it. No mating, no fighting, no parenting, no hierarchy, no purpose. They became obsessed with comfort and self-maintenance. Perfect bodies, empty lives. Read that again. Perfect bodies, empty lives. Sound familiar? But the collapse had only begun. Female mice started changing too. Many stopped caring for their babies. Some abandoned nests. Some became aggressive toward their own offspring. Infant survival crashed. New births dropped, then collapsed. And once reproduction stopped, the colony entered irreversible decline. Even though food remained unlimited, the population began shrinking. There was still water, still safety, still comfort, still paradise. Yet life was disappearing. Eventually, the last mouse died. Universe 25 ended in total extinction. Now pause, because the obvious explanation is wrong. Most people think overcrowding killed them. But Calhoun argued something deeper. The habitats still had physical space. What disappeared was psychological space. That changes everything. You see, mammals don't only need food and shelter. They need meaning, role, challenge, hierarchy, purpose. Without these, behavior starts decaying. Calhoun called this process behavioral sink, a condition where social systems collapse despite material abundance. And if that sounds extreme, look around. For most of human history, life demanded struggle. You hunted, built, protected, created, raised families under pressure. Survival required purpose. Every day mattered. Now compare that to modern life. Food arrives in minutes. Entertainment is endless. Comfort is everywhere. Discomfort is optional. Struggle can often be avoided. And at first, that sounds like progress. But what if the human mind wasn't built for endless comfort? What if comfort solves physical suffering while creating psychological suffering? This is where Universe 25 becomes terrifying, because modern society is beginning to mirror its patterns. Look at the numbers. Loneliness is rising. Anxiety is rising. Depression is rising. Birth rates are collapsing in many countries. Young adults increasingly report feeling lost, disconnected, unmotivated, not starving, not dying, just drifting. And then there's something even stranger. The rise of digital comfort. Your brain now lives in an environment of infinite stimulation, unlimited content, unlimited novelty, unlimited distraction. You can scroll for hours without effort. Your dopamine system gets reward without struggle, pleasure without effort, validation without real connection. And evolution never prepared you for that. Because for nearly 300,000 years, reward required effort, food required hunting, status required contribution, connection required presence. Now, a tap gives stimulation, another tap gives pleasure, another tap gives distraction, and slowly, something changes. Motivation weakens, attention fragments, patience disappears, purpose becomes blurry. And this is where people misunderstand Universe 25. The lesson isn't, comfort is evil. No, comfort is incredible. Medicine is incredible. Technology is incredible. Safety is incredible. The problem isn't comfort itself. The problem begins when comfort becomes the only goal. Because the human brain evolved for more than comfort. It evolved for growth, challenge, meaning, adaptation, struggle with purpose. Remove all meaningful struggle, and something inside begins to rot. Not physically, psychologically, spiritually, existentially. That's why the happiest people often aren't those with easiest lives. They're the ones moving towards something meaningful, building, creating, contributing, suffering for something worthwhile. And maybe that's what Calhoun accidentally discovered. Paradise isn't simply a place with no pain. Because a life with zero struggle may not feel like paradise at all. It may feel empty. And maybe that's the deepest warning of Universe 25. Civilizations don't always collapse from external enemies. Sometimes, they collapse from internal decay. Not because resources disappear, but because purpose does. The strangest part is, most people hear this story, think about mice, feel disturbed for a moment, and move on. But somewhere tonight, someone will lie in bed, phone in hand, scrolling endlessly through infinite comfort, feeling strangely empty, without understanding why. And maybe the real question was never, what happened to the mice? Maybe the real question is, what happens to humans when they no longer need to struggle to survive? Because if meaning is born from challenge, then a world obsessed with comfort may be walking towards something dangerous. And if that sounds dramatic, remember this. Universe 25 didn't collapse overnight. It collapsed slowly, quietly, comfortably. And perhaps that's what makes it so terrifying. The mice never realized paradise had become a prison. And maybe the scariest cages are the ones that feel comfortable enough to never leave.